Hey, what's up? I'm Alex.
And I'm Ryan.
We are one half of All Time Low, and you are on livethescene.com watching an interview with us.
Oh, it's cold.
All Time Low. Alex and Ryan. One half of.
The better half.
This city, so pretty under moonlit skies, will be hanging like a cigarette, so stunning, start running.
I'm great.
I'm doing well. Alex is having some bowel issues today.
I've had major diarrhea all day. Pretty much everyone on the tour has. We all got burritos last night. And burritos.
Scotland, was it?
Anyone that had, we've narrowed it down that it was either the guacamole or the beans.
And you know, who would have thought that Scottish burritos were
I thought
Mexican food?
I thought Scotland was the place for Mexican food, apart from Mexico.
Experts in Mexican food.
I mean, I don't know why I'm having a problem now, but
But other than that,
needless to say, the entire band and crew have been feeling the effects of yesterday's burritos. But apart from that, everything's good.
Queue for the toilet on the bus then?
Yeah, well, not on the bus, which is part of the problem.
Yeah,
no,
not poop on the
that's
bus.
no poo
Not
rule,
allowed
yeah.
to do number twos on the bus. So
a couple of people last night were trying to formulate a plan on if they had to do an emergency poo, how to do it on the bus. But I think luckily,
I think everybody made it through the night. I made it till about 8 a.m., at which point I had to run off the bus and locate something that was open. Everything was closed. I almost started crying.
I've got a feeling that this is not the way they wanted the interview to go.
That's brilliant.
You guys want to keep talking about poop? Or? Well, the UK, for me especially, definitely feels like a second home. I was born here, so I have a lot of family here. I have a bunch of family coming out tonight, and
That sucks.
I've had some family coming out to some of the other shows, so it's been really cool in that sense. And yeah, I think it very much does. I mean, one of the craziest things about the UK right now for us is that we've had some success with radio here. BBC Radio 1 has really sort of embraced us and taken us under their wing and helped grow us over here. So we've definitely been feeling the effects of that exposure. You know, the show's getting dramatically bigger.
Yeah, in the States it's kind of been a gradual, a growth for us. But whenever we pop up overseas, especially in the UK, it's just exponential. I mean, a lot of these places we had played before, like a major, a co-headliner maybe, but then a lot of them were playing, much bigger than we ever have in the States even. So this has become kind of like our biggest market, which is great.
I mean, more or less, to sum it up, it was really just a timing issue with the label. We delivered the record a little bit later than everybody would have liked, just for mixing reasons and stuff like that. We just wanted to get it right. Beyond that, most major labels right now are going through some restructuring, and we wanted to make sure that our record didn't get caught up in any of that. Like, our record comes out and then the guy that's putting it on the shelves gets fired the next week or something like that, or moved to a different location. Anything could have happened, so we were just kind of waiting for that whole thing to settle. And then aside from that, it's really just about, it's not as easy as being like, okay, not this week, we'll put it out the next week. It's like, well, next week this is happening, so it goes from a week to a month to whatever.
You don't regret going, on a major label or whatever, because obviously, like, Hopeless, probably you were the...
Well, that's what I was going to say, yeah. On Hopeless, it was kind of like, they had a date, and as long as we turned it in on time, it was out on that date. But the thing is, with Interscope, there are, a lot more hoops to jump through in order to get the record out, but at the end of the day, this is what they do, and they do it the best, and you just kind of, we delivered it, now we just got to trust them to put it out the right way.
I think part of the effect that's being felt and like the reaction because of it is really also because we're learning. Like, I think with a lot of artists, we may have prematurely been like, oh, the record's coming out around here. When in actuality, we probably should have just kept our mouths shut and no one would be the wiser. You know what I mean?
And honestly, it's kind of been. And we probably should post it like this. I'm gonna put my foot back down. You want to switch? Okay. No. It was, I think originally we said January, and as that came along, it didn't happen. And now the more I think about it, I'm really happy it didn't come out in January, because the more we listen to this record,
summer record.
the more we let people listen to it, and even the more people anticipate it, they're like, well, as long as it's out by summer, because it's a summer record, and sure enough, it is. So I don't know. I think it's for the better.
I agree. mean, I think, you know, it's still, you know, it's still polished.
Yeah.
But you know, some of the measures we took on the last album, we learned from, and we learned that, you know, it's not for everybody, and we didn't really want to do it again. So with this one, it wasn't so much about, you know, it's not dramatically different, but if you compare this new one with the last one, it just sounds a little more adult, a little more grown up, and, you know, like, very basic stuff, but it just sounds a little more raw. Which
yeah,
is,
you can kind of like, I don't know how to put it, you can kind of just feel the takes, you know, it's not just like hearing it.
It's more like a live
exactly.
transfer.
You feel the drums playing or guitar or, you know, his singing. It's just more, everything's a little bit more honest than it was before, because we took the time to make sure that the takes were the right ones, not so much that, okay, that'll do, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
You know, the actual takes were the right ones. It's nice.
What do you mean honest? Like
there's a certain honesty that you lose when. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like some of the things that are done in production, sort of things like drum replacement, just the endless takes of guitar that you can find yourself tracking to get it perfectly in tune and perfectly played, and it just ends up, you know, it becomes so polished that you sort of lose. The music's there and the song's there, but you sort of lose the sense that someone was actually playing
it becomes like stamped.
It's just kind of like, here's your gridlocked, everything's right, but it doesn't really feel like anybody was actually sitting there playing guitar or playing drums. And this time around, you know, it was more about that take feels good rather than, you know, did you fuck up a note right there?
Or that D string might be a tiny bit.
Yeah, you bent the D string, but yeah, that's what happens when you play a guitar. Like, it's not perfect.
Was the producer fine about that, or was it half idea, or was it completely your idea?
We used a couple producers on this record, and, you know, with each dude, they all have their different techniques and everything, but that is one thing we really kind of tried to stick with for the most part. You know, Mike Green was the one that we really nailed it with. John Fields as well. You know, Matt Squire has a different style. His stuff is a little cleaner. But even with him, we all went in with an approach. There was less do it again. It was more, fuck it, that one feels really good, let's go with that.
And with that being said, I mean, we also, this last one, we did Nothing Personal. We couldn't have done it this way because I don't think we were talented enough to do it. You know, we were still uncomfortable in the studio. And now that we've kind of done it a few times, you know, I'm a better drummer in the studio, he's a better vocalist, and, you know, so on and so forth. And so we can be like, okay, well, that take was enough, we don't need to do that again. So it's a learning process, and we're still very much learning.
I got your picture, I'm coming with you, dear Maria, come me in, there's a story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little frustrating, only because, you know, we've been touring on the same songs now for about 2 years, and that's really when it starts to feel a little bit stale, like, man, I really want to start playing some new material. But
and not only for us, but, you know, for the fans too, I'm sure.
Yeah, for the people in the audience as well, yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I think this one's going to come, like, at the perfect time. I think it'll be right when, you know, we're ready for it, so. And
luckily we threw in Time Bomb at the beginning of this Europe, and we put that right kind of in the middle of the set, and kids, honestly, even before we released the song online, like you said, through YouTube and everything, kids started learning the words like the next day. And it's a crazy snowball effect that it can have. So hopefully, you know, we get back to the US, we'll start putting out some more ones and see what happens.
No, I mean, I don't think we've ever gotten to that point. You know, I don't know what else we would do. It's really like, this is the dream. This is what we've always wanted, and I think to snap into that mindset would be the most negative and probably unhealthy thing we could possibly do for our band. So I don't we've never really reached that like mode of thinking, but I mean, there are definitely times when, you know, we've never gotten to the point where we said, you know, maybe we should stop, but there's always that point where you hit a wall and it's like, I don't know what to do anymore. But it's never been an option.
Even right now, some of us, you know, we've been overseas for about a month now, which, you know, seems easy enough to say, but it takes its toll. A month overseas is, I say, equivalent to, like, you know, 2.5, 3 months in, you know, in the States where you're home.
It's a month stressing about your phone bill. And
I mean, you can't just take out your phone and call your girlfriend, call your mom, whatever. And we're all kind of like, you know, we're really itching to get back home, but at the same time, like we said, these are the biggest shows we've ever played, and we're in such a great position that kind of carries you through. There
was one tour that we actually had like a big truck that was carrying all our gear, and we would sort of hang them all up in there. So we had this whole wall that was just covered.
And then the last show.
And then the last show, yeah, we threw them all at the.
Seem to all go on Jack's microphone.
Yeah.
Is that
Jack doesn't need his mic, so we really just use that as a drapery for all the bras. Then again, we can do the same with his guitar, probably. Didn't like Alex, but he was one of those kids that wore like really baggy, like nylon cargo pants with like, chain belts and everything, and it's kind of pompous.
I was not pompous.
Yeah, you were, because he was different.
You can't
he
be
was
pompous
a
in
different
9th grade.
kid. Yeah, you can. You were. Jack I knew because we had a couple classes together. He was okay. He was weird though. He was really squirrely.
Ryan didn't like me because I made out with his girlfriend.
You made out with every one of my girlfriends except my current one, and made out with as being
pretty good. Pretty good.
But no,
I'm checking him for poison.
Are you sure he has made out with the current one?
I'm pretty sure. No, but
I settled for your mom instead.
Oh.
Do you still live together?
Not anymore.
Me and Ryan. Yes, Ryan. Me and Ryan do, yeah.
Oh, so I wait for all the bills and everything. It's just like.
I really just pay all the bills. Ryan just kind of free.
I'm like a mafia wife. I just kind of like, you know, I'm there when he needs me. I do things for him.
Can you pick up some beer? Yes. That's.
I'm not a soprano, so.
Yeah. Bands to play 2 years in a row. Maybe not allowed, but I don't think a band has ever played 2 years in a row.
I'm sure there have been.
They don't have the same headliners.
It's no good.
What's going on with your arm?
I don't know. I was in this the whole time. Our guy up here says it looks bad.
Yeah, I mean, you look like a fucking.
I'm trying to get
You
close.
look like Quasimodo.
I don't know. I was holding my head up.
No, to answer your question, we're not doing Reading and Leeds, but we are, like you said, we're doing Oxygen and we're doing Tea in the Park. It's really one of those things. Yeah, we saw our booking agent the other day and we asked him about it, and he said it's really just kind of faux pas to do it twice. He said, you know, better to save it for next year, you know, whenever we can do it again.
Tonight we lie awake. Remember how the coffee made us shake on the.
More alcohol.
Another beer, yeah. Hair of the dog.
Honestly, I think this tour I've been on over like 2 or 3 times this tour, and I think the key is just to drink so much water before you go to bed, and it's so hard to do sometimes because you're so full of just liquids already.
And you're so drunk, you don't want to drink water. Like,
and you need to go to the toilet.
It's just sleep. Luckily, in our position, we don't really have to do anything until around 4 p.m. So
that's the nicest thing. Like, you can pass out, and then you don't have to. Our day doesn't really start until now, so you know I could have literally just woken up.
Some of our crew guys, like, they'll drink with us, and then they have to get up at like 10 a.m., 9 a.m. to load in.
I feel so bad for them.
I'm just sleeping away today. Jeez.
That is a tough question to ask. The most recent one, I think, is one of our older singles, Dear Maria, just went gold in the States, which is really cool because it's not a song that's ever had. We've never had radio play with it. Or, you know, not a whole lot of promotion went into that song. It was an early single. So for it to kind of continue to creep up in sales every week like that.
Like iTunes as well.
Yeah, it's just people buying the single, like finding out about our band from whatever record they heard, and then going back and purchasing the previous stuff. It's kind of cool to know that, you know, it's the fans and that are going to the back catalog that are, you know, keeping it climbing, which is awesome.
And then you asked us in a week, and I bet you we're going to say the 2 nights we're about to play at Brixton, which to play to 10,000 people at a headlining show is something, of course, we never thought would happen. So it's I don't know. We're gonna mess up probably.
You've got me popping champagne. I'm at it again, caught up in the moment.
What did I just say? I said this the other day. Not in an interview though. I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys.
There you go. Fair enough.
That would fit in with your album.
I have 2. I think I would have really liked to write Futures by Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
Or crap. Maybe Hit Me Baby One More Time, because then I'd be rich.
Yeah, are we talking about for all time level?
Yeah, would you want to perform it, or would you want to just write it?
No, I'm only joking.
We could perform Futures.
A couple songs that I would have liked to have written for our band, like I wish they were our song, is Futures and a Foo Fighters song. Which one was it that we were talking about?
All My Life.
All My Life. All My Life.
Yeah.
To put this record out, to
to release
an album. No. To put the record out, to keep touring, to hopefully reach another level that we haven't achieved yet.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's easier to say in the States because we've been playing the same type venues for quite some time now, and it's going to be nice, hopefully, in the fall time to kind of open up a little bit more into like theaters and whatnot, and that'd be we could ride that for quite some time and be very happy. So.
Arenas over here.
Yeah, hopefully,
it's unbelievable, man. To say we played an arena anywhere, it's going to be crazy. Fuck off.
Fuck you all. No, thank you for sticking with us. We love you guys so much.
Especially over here.
Yeah. Say you get cold sores, Ryan.
I got your picture, I'm coming with you. Dear Maria, count me in. There's a story at the bottom of this bottle, and